This lesson is order of operations using boards number 1 and 3 and the blue and red pawn markers. This is a group activity that is very similar to 5 in a row or bingo, or at least has similar properties. So if we look at the practice group activity, we see that students are to place 5 red pawns on each of any set of 5 numbers. So the sets are broken into 5 from A to J. So let's suppose a student picks letter A, that set. They have 16, 20, 28, 32, and 50. So the student will go on to board number 3 and place the pawns on 16, 20, 28, 32, and 50. So now we've placed the red pawns on each of those numbers. If they choose from a set that only goes up to 100, they are free to use board number 1 for the same activity. If their numbers go higher than 100, they can use board number 3. This is just so that they can mark off the numbers and be sure that they have included all the numbers in their set. So then the next step is to go through the practice questions and read off the problems and have the students determine whether or not their number equals the expression that you give. For instance, 4 squared is the first number in the practice activity, and we know that the answer to 4 squared is 16, or 4 times 4. This student has chosen the correct number in their set. It is the first number, 16. So they can now remove the red pawn, 16, from that space, and now they have 4 remaining pawns. And you'll continue through all 35, or up to 35, to determine which student can remove all 5 pawns the fastest. In this second section, the extra practice, students will use board number 1, and we're doing something a little bit different. Students are asked to create the equivalent expression for as many numbers as they can from 1 to 100. They can only use any 4 random numbers that they decide from 1 to 9. For instance, in the example, if the student picked 1, 3, 5, and 7, they could use any of those 4 numbers and the operation to calculate their answer. So for instance, 1, 3, 5, and 7, they have to use these numbers and an operation to determine what the answer is. So for number 1, we have to make this our solution. So we can do 5 minus 3 plus 1 in parentheses, which is the same as 5 minus 4, which equals 1. So you'll have students continue to repeat this using all different operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and they can even use exponents if they'd like. You can see how far they can get, or how many numbers they can get out of the group of either 20, 50, or 100. This lesson is order of operations using boards number 1 and 3.